Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now.
Here we are, Lisa Ann and Howard Bender, back together again for Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor. Big shout out to our producer, Brian Burns, in the studio. I like that music there, Howard. Speaking of music, we got you back. You've been lost in music for the past however many days, and you've been drafting like a madman. I was listening to your draft earlier before I hopped on here with you. How are you, and how good does it feel to be back into draft madness?
It feels great to be back in draft madness. Draft madness is like the understatement of the century. As you and I are here right now, I am also in the draft room for my friend Chris Kuroda's home league. He's the lighting designer for Fish, who I just spent all that time with in Colorado. So that draft happens right now. Then later on, I've got another draft. And then even later than that, I've got my my FFPC draft. So I am jam-packed here. There's crazy content and stuff over at Fantasy Alarm right now. We are rocking and rolling, getting ready for everything here. And look at this. I told you, as promised, I drank the Kool-Aid, Lisa Ann. I watched Hard Knocks. I got my Jets hat going here. I got my Jets sweatshirt. And if you didn't think that was enough Jets logos, well, there you go. There's one more for you.
I'm so glad that you leaned into Hard Knocks because it is fantastic. And, we learned this week that Aaron Rodgers is Randall Cobb's son's godfather. Like, we're just learning so many great things about Aaron Rodgers.
We are learning a lot of great things about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, again, we had this discussion 2 weeks ago when you first got me locked into Hard Knocks. Forget about what the media is saying about somebody. Don't let that sway your thinking. You really have to give other people the benefit of the doubt. And I've just jumped in hook, line, and sinker here for the Jets. Mad respect for Rodgers and the and just everything that I see. And it's not mugging for the camera. It's not putting on airs for anybody. It's like, it's very genuine, and I respect that.
I'm loving all of it. Getting to know the players, it does make it exciting. You're just so much more in tune with the team, Salah, everything about it. Fantastic. And, I did 3 drafts back to back last night. I had a 7, an 8, and then a 10 p.m., a West Coast league that I'm in. So it's getting to that point where situations you got into earlier no longer matter because we have new situations arising with injuries and all of that. But I did work the wire a little bit today. I also went in and set all of my lineups just for like a preliminary and then put notes in my little notebook of like, hey, go back and make sure you check in. It's tricky when you're on so many different platforms. Do you agree, Howard?
It's ridiculously tricky. I don't remember at what point during the day it really hit me. I was like, oh, damn, it's Wednesday. Like I knew I missed waivers in the, from the Tuesday night leagues. Now, the good thing about it is that I'm not usually like a big week 1, like pre-week 1 waiver guy. I like to have confidence in my draft. I know the players that I've got, unless there's like a glaring injury. And yes, you know what? I do have Jonathan Taylor in some places that I drafted earlier. I did have Travis Kelce in another draft. So, working, stuff around like that, not terrible, but yeah, like on 7 different websites, I have, I don't know, maybe like 30 season-long teams right now that it is like waiver wire action is work.
Yeah, I went in the notes of my phone and did a little checklist of all the different platforms because I have like one league on one and one league on another. Those are the ones I'm afraid the most that I'll forget about. And they're new leagues that I got invited to. So it's not like keyed in. So having that little, reference point in your phone to be able to like, okay, let me make sure I make a pass. So I was able to make a move in the Queen's Classic because I drafted Jonathan Taylor, You and I were there together at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We both thought, okay, I'm buying the dip, second round. Okay, dip, what have you. I was able to pick up Zach Moss, but I don't know if that's going to be helpful to me this week, still with the questionable tag. And as I like to greet, which you will see tonight, I don't know if you know this about me, but I do like to greet my players as they come onto my team, have a little pep talk with them, see how they're going to get along with their new friends. I want to be sure there's a good locker room vibe there. But I would like to say also, I say goodbye. And Malik Davis, nice to know you. I dropped you like you were hot today, even though you weren't, because I really needed to make space for Zach Moss.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you have to make that move, I mean, I still, even in this time of pass happy NFL and all that craziness, I still get my running backs early. And so I had guys to move in for Jonathan Taylor. So, I felt good about that. I felt comfortable making that move. I think the one that really kind of that I had to maneuver around was, with Romeo Doubs being injured with a hamstring injury, that Jaden Reed, the rookie, is going to start getting a little bit of he's probably going to get some extra work, especially when you're also talking about the fact that Christian Watson, who also just landed on the injury report. So, it was doing that. I ended up dropping, I said goodbye to Alec Pierce.
Bye-bye, Alec. It's really nice to get to know you. You might land back on that team later on down the season, Alec, but for now, bye-bye.
He could come back. I mean, I definitely like Alec Pierce. I think that he's got good, strong potential, but with the Colts right now, Anthony Richardson starting, Michael Pittman's still the number one. I'm just not sure of what this passing offense is going to really look like. So I felt comfortable. I felt good about saying goodbye to him and, welcoming on another nice little rookie.
I must ask, have you seen the new promo for the Manning cast?
Oh my God, how funny was that?
That's the greatest thing. I could rewatch that like 1,000 times. Where should we know you from? TikTok. Like, that was amazing. Brady was great sitting out there with the dog and then making the phone call. Like, I didn't get the gig. Everyone was brilliant. I love what they're doing. I love that the Manning brothers have shown us like how close their bond is, how funny they both are. And also how just keyed in to have the connects that they have, because I'm sure that was an expensive commercial to put together, but it could have been more expensive if everybody had liked them as much as they do.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that statement. I think our producer Brian Burns actually has it. If you want to actually show the Manningcast promo ad, do you want to see it?
I'll watch that 1,000,000 times. Yes, please.
Brian Burns.
Hi, I'm Jared Goff, quarterback, here to audition.
So, Jared, how excited are you about the opportunity to be on the most popular show on television?
Isn't this for the Manningcast?
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I play quarterback.
Ooh, quarterback. We like that.
You like that?
Yeah, we like that.
You like that?
I just said that we liked it.
You like that?
I mean, what is this guy's deal?
No, but did you like it?
How do you feel about audibles?
We generally just want the quarterback to run the play that's called. That's the play.
Sean McVay, Los Angeles Rams head coach.
On this team, we tear ourselves to pieces.
This is how you guys dress in real life?
I'm just not comfortable with nudity.
You guys are terrible evaluators and go f yourself.
Thank you, Mike. Who are your broadcasting icons?
Another one.
What would you say are your strengths?
We the best.
I'm just here because your guys have the most punchable face in the history of punching faces.
Wow, Reese Witherspoon. I mean, we're honored you'd even consider auditioning for the Manningcast.
Manning what? Oh, no, I was calling to bundle my home and auto. Aren't you the insurance guy?
So what would we know you from?
Have you heard of TikTok?
Sure.
Really?
No.
Hi, Lil Wayne, Weezy Baby, President Carter, Tunchi.
I'm Peyton, and this is Lil Brother. Let's get some sleeves on you, big boy.
I don't think the job's for me. I have no idea what this is, but I don't think I'm the right guy.
Well, we tried our best.
Guess it's just the two of us again this season.
Unless there's someone on that list who is just perfect for the job.
Nope. Not on this list. Mm-mm.
You've been waiting here a long time, too?
No, I didn't get the Manicast job. I guess I'll just come back and play football again.
I mean, DJ Khaled, another one. That was amazing. Lil Wayne coming on. Lil Wayne, President Carter, Wheezy, President Carter, too much. Oh, this is little brother. All of it. McAfee with the sleeves.
No, Mike Tyson. You got the most punchable faces of punchable faces.
And obviously, Reese Witherspoon was going to charge way too much to show up, so they had to have her cameo style on a FaceTime. She was like, "I'm sorry, my rate is my rate. Okay, I do not compromise." But that was so fun. Absolutely loved all of that. So if anybody didn't see it, now you got to. It's incredible. But let's talk about another incredible thing today. Nick Bosa, 5 years, $170 million deal, reported by Ian Rappaport. 122.5 guaranteed.
Pretty tremendous, right? That's a ton of guaranteed money. It's obviously it's a great spot for the San Francisco 49ers. I will say this, it's a lot of guaranteed money for a guy who keeps getting banged up. It's a lot of guaranteed money for a guy who gets banged up like that. Whether or not we'll see some sort of a contract restructuring at some point or another. But I mean, listen, I think that he's integral to their pass rush. He's definitely a heart and soul of their defense. So, listen, you got to pay the guy. I mean, look at what's going on with the, Chris Jones in Kansas City.
Right.
He's not in camp. You know what? I mean, I really love David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield of Detroit tomorrow night against this Kansas City run defense that doesn't have Chris Jones right in the middle of that defensive line.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of this Chris Jones was waiting on to get more information about what Bosa was actually going to get. But it's a lot of guaranteed money. Pony up. It's done. I'm always happy to see somebody secure the bag. And remember something, no one is happier than Uncle Sam when these deals actually go through, because my friend gets 50% and doesn't have to get banged up on the field.
Straight cash, homie.
Travis Kelce suffered a hyperextended knee on Tuesday. Latest report said it's a bone bruise, but he's listed as questionable for week 1. We know that Travis Kelce hasn't missed a game since 2014. His brother Jason did a local Philadelphia show saying it's really about the inflammation at this point. This is a scenario where a lot of people have already drafted. And if you got Kelce, you got him in the first round. How worried should fantasy team managers be? Should you be on the waiver wire getting a secondary tight end right now and holding tight? Or do you think Travis Kelce plays tomorrow night? We are on the eve of NFL football.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that, when we take a look at with Kelce, it's a bone bruise of the knee. So to me, it's not like a life or death situation here. He could miss tomorrow night's game. Maybe if he does suit up, he's used more as a decoy. I think if you're drafting tonight and you're going after and you're looking for a guy like Travis Kelce, you just have to say, I'll get a backup tight end late in the draft. But I know that I'm going to end up utilizing him the rest of the way. It sounds like he's going to be okay, at least for week 2. So I mean, I bumped him down maybe a teeny little bit in the ultimate cheat sheet over at Fantasy Alarm, but. I mean, I'm not devastated here. I'm not too concerned about what we've got.
He slipped to the second round in one of my drafts last night, and I was drafting from the 2 spot. And it was the first time I had gotten like that close to the 1 spot. And luckily McCaffrey went, so I was able to get Justin Jefferson. And as I went around the second round, I was like, do I just do it? And he went like 1 pick before me. But just to see Travis Kelce in the second round. Now, I stayed away from Cooper Kupp this year. I don't know why, Howard. I don't know if it was my draft position or how it landed that way. Maybe I have him in a couple best ball leagues, but after this injury, I checked, I do not have him in 1 season-long league. So now we have the clear answer. If you've got Cooper Kupp, take him out of your lineup. He will not be playing week 1 against Seattle. That's a bummer. A lot of talks out there. This could be a 4 to a 6 week situation for Cooper Kupp. For me, my Tyler Higbee shares late are looking so fly. Okay, so fly, so fly. People laughing at me for taking Higbee, but I just wanted some shares in LA, but didn't want to trust Cooper Kupp because we weren't even hearing him at optimal health yet this preseason.
Yeah, I was I was a little sour on Cooper Kupp. Like before I went away on vacation, I mean, it was the hamstring issue, and you were like, man, this is still lingering. It's no good. Then I heard about the setback that he had, and that kind of, bummed me out a little bit more. I heard about it on Saturday. And then when I got back, I immediately downgraded him because, once you have that setback and, now you're in Minnesota seeing a specialist, and then we don't hear anything for like 2 days. Like the fact that we didn't hear anything for 2 days made me a little bit nervous there. So I love your shares of Tyler Higbee. And I kind of think, I'm going to test it. I'm going to test out the waters. In DFS, I'm going to take a look at Van Jefferson. I know
I do have some shares of Van Jefferson as well. I do. I find it odd that we can't find a great body specialist in Los Angeles. We need to go to Minnesota. Who is this said person? Why is this place so much better? Because when you're injured, the last thing you should be doing is flying because of inflammation.
Well, I mean, come on. You don't think Cooper Kupp's on some crazy private jet and everything's, all hunky dory for him? Come on.
Dude, you're still going up in that elevation, bruh. Okay, it's still happening. Let's go to the Bengals. Joe Burrow, calf is expected to practice in full on Wednesday. I didn't lower Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase over this calf injury when it happened early because I just think Joe Cool is too cool to really worry about a calf.
Yeah, I didn't downgrade Burrow at all. I mean, it sounded like, what I liked about it was, and how like a calf injury can be one of those nagging recurring things. They really just kind of sounded like they put Burrow on lockdown basically and just said flat out, they were like, listen, you know what? It's more important. And I think, was it Chase who said, even if Burrow's not there for week 1, we're still okay because we're playing the long game here. So it sounded to me like the team was very, very confident in the fact that he was just going to sit, he was going to heal, he was going to rehab, he wasn't going to push it too soon. There was no need to waste it. He didn't need the preseason games or anything like that. So Jamar Chase still the 1-1 on my board, no matter what. I have the second pick in this draft that I'm doing right now. And the first person took Justin Jefferson, and I could not hit the smash button on just Jamar Chase fast enough to make that happen. I was hoping it was going to come back around to me in like the 4 or 5 turn and be able to grab Joe Burrow so I could have them paired up, but somebody snaked me from that. But,
yeah, you wanted to have best friends on your team so they could get along in your fake locker room. And I think that's really smart. We already know the chemistry is there. They're going to get along on your squad that you're managing, Howard. I wish beat reporters would stop asking players about other players' injuries because it's silly. It's all hyperbole. Like, why are you bothering him? And also, Jamar Chase, like, I think it's great you stand by your bro, but at the same time, your numbers are going to drop significantly if he's not in by week 5. So stop talking that trash. Just stop and just let us get him better. Let him get him out there. And he's a solid player. Another injury, so many injuries before the games even start. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reports that the Cardinals are expected to start Joshua Dobbs in week 1 against the Commanders. Other than a running back, I cannot handle any offense in Arizona. How about you?
No, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm a little shocked that Dobbs is the guy who was getting the nod. And that doesn't say much about what Clayton Tune has been doing in camp then, I guess, because he should have been great. I think that it was there was a rumor that like suddenly Jonathan Gannon was going to unveil that Kyler Murray was going to be his starting quarterback and throw everybody off on that, but that was just a pipe dream. I have no interest. I'm not even looking at like Zach Ertz or Trey McBride at the tight end spot.
So sad because we had so many good years with Zach Ertz. Okay, so many good years. Those years are behind us. I'm the same, but I have been drafting James Conner. How about you?
I've got a couple of shares of James Conner because you kind of figure that, they're going to want to establish the run. He's also one of those running backs who does catch passes, very underrated on as far as a pass catcher goes. So he's going to be on the field. He's going to be the every down back. Yes, you do lose the fact that that there's a chance that he just keeps getting game flowed out. But we've seen coaches do this before. We saw Lovie Smith do it last year with Houston when he was there. It didn't matter. They were expecting to lose. They weren't expecting to win the game. So you might as well, instead of just chucking the ball and going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, at least let the team kind of gel and see what happens. And Dameon Pierce just kept getting the ball more and more. And then what did you see from Dameon Pierce? Because the defense softened up, Dameon Pierce was like, I'm just going to take off and run for, 45-yard touchdown here. So I've got some shares of Connor. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a great running back. A fantastic story, right? I mean, he overcame cancer. And
did you read his book?
I did not read his book.
Oh, it is such a great read. I mean, the stories about him going through his treatments, and he would just lay there and watch plays on his phone. He would sit and watch all the running backs that he aspired to be in the NFL and pass the time while he was getting his treatments. Like, it's just a remarkable story. And I read it right when it came out. I love autobiographies, and it's made me want to support him even more. So that stays with us,
Yeah, absolutely. So big fan of his, and yeah, I'll always support him. I had shares of him when he was with Pittsburgh. So, but yeah, I agree with you. That's probably the only player I'm trusting. I mean, like, why am I going to go for Marquise Brown? The only real hope that you've got for Marquise Brown really is that during garbage time, like the old days when it was when Allen Robinson was playing for the Jaguars. And Blaine Gabbert was just chucking the ball downfield.
He would go out there garbage time, so many points last half of the fourth quarter, like just crazy stuff. Well, Green Bay not only lost their stud quarterback that is now repping all of the clothes that Howard Bender is wearing right now, they are dropping like flies in Green Bay. Okay, we've already got Christian Watson with a hamstring, Romeo Doubs with a hamstring. They were both absent from Wednesday's practice. Could this be maybe we're holding them out, or could this be really, really real? Because hamstrings do not go away from a Wednesday to Sunday when you're supposed to play in a real game.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the big thing also, because Christian Watson had that hamstring issue at the start of last season. That was one of the things that kind of held him back. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a concern. We already knew that Romeo Doubs was dealing with this hamstring problem as well. And he was already being considered, kind of questionable, even close to doubtful for week 1. So now that Watson's out also, again, that's why I said I went after Jaden Reed, because who else is going to be throwing, is he going to have to throw to? You got Jaden Reed, you got tight end Luke Musgrave. Those are probably going to be their 2 biggest targets coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of beat reporters talking about Luke Musgrave. And I've got to say this to you, Howard, as a baseball man yourself. Doesn't that sound like a baseball player name? Don't you think Luke Musgrave should be a pitcher? What is he doing in the NFL?
Well, right? You could put him on the same team with Joe Musgrove.
Yes. I mean, like, buddy, wrong sport. Great name. Titans wide receiver Treylon Burks' knee was a full participant in Wednesday's practice. And when I think of Treylon Burks, I think of Britt Flynn, who was absolutely spectacular here with us last week while you were away. Big Treylon Burks truther is Britt, and Titans get him back full participant. How much do you think this affects D-Hop, or does this open up targets for D-Hop in that offense?
Oh, I think this is a great thing. I think this is a great thing in multiple ways. It's great for D-Hop because he's going to have somebody who's legitimately going to draw coverage away. Maybe, and then what happens is you're going to end up with like single coverage on Treylon Burks, because if you are worried about D-Hop, then you're going to float some safety coverage over that way. But more importantly, it gives you a legitimate passing attack for this team. You've got 2 strong wideouts running around there, so you can't always pinch the safeties in to end up, with the, to stuff the run. So I think it opens up things a little bit more for Derrick Henry, and I think it obviously opens up things more for D-Hop. I know it's not a heavy passing offense, right, but it's still, you're going to get guys who are going to see strong number of targets. I mean, even if Hopkins and Burks get, I don't know, 15 to 18 targets between the 2 of them, that's still going to end up being very, very productive for them, because the defense is also going to have to watch for Derrick Henry.
Agreed. Now, all things happen in such a short period of time. We've got a listener question that we're going to get to in a moment, but back in the Queen's Classic, I drafted Jackson Smith-Njigba. He gets injured, and now all of a sudden, miraculously, I've done nothing but wish him well every day. Get well soon, get well soon. Well, Pete Carroll comes out and says, guess what? My boy's going to be playing against the Rams. How confident can I feel in playing JSN?
I don't know. I wouldn't play him for the first week. I would probably keep him, sitting tight. Obviously DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are going to be the dominant targets there. I think you could see Jackson Smith-Njigba get some extra work if the Seahawks are ahead significantly and let him just get that on-field experience.
Yeah.
But for the same token, also you've got Pete Carroll. If they're sitting on a league, Pete Carroll is going to be like, he's going to be like Shane Waldron. He's going to be like, hey, Shane, come here for a minute. Let's just run the ball and get out of this one here. We don't need to push anything. We don't need to make anything crazy. We've got Kenneth Walker. We got Zach Charbonnet. So let's just kind of, run this out in the second half. JSN will get some work in to kind of get him up to speed for the, for just playing the NFL game. But yeah, I would take that as more of a wait and see. I'm sorry. I know you want to start him. I know you do.
I want to wait and see. I want to sit him on my bench and let him get well. But if he's going to be on my bench, honestly, I'd rather him not play because, I don't want you to get any points. And also I'd like you to really recover because all it takes is landing on that wrist wrong. And you're starting from ground zero. You just went through a minor surgery. Like that's just crazy to me. But Giants' Wan'Dale Robinson knee was limited in practice Wednesday.
I like that, actually. That's, listen, he was coming back from the torn ACL. I mean, even if he's listed as questionable for the week, that's a guy that you pick up and you stash if you can, because, who else is catching passes on the Giants team besides Darren Waller?
Let's see. Are you going to believe in Paris Campbell? Or maybe you would like to play Darius Slayton?
No,
I hope Deborah. I don't want to disparage Deborah's players. I know Deborah. I love Deborah. I do not want her mad at me. But when I looked through that depth chart today, I was like, trash. When I look at Paris Campbell and Darius Slayton, all I picture is when I'm trying to fill that last spot in a DFS challenge, and I have a very limited budget, and they just fit in. And by the way, speaking of that, the first of every week free DFS challenge that I'm sending out on DraftKings already posted on my timeline. All of you get in. Bragging rights is what we're going to do. We're going to do the whole slate, Howard, Thursday to Monday, because it's annoying. It's annoying to know that one player, you'll be up by 30, and then one player has 3 players left going in the Monday night game. And I love to sweat it for the extra day. So the challenge is out for everybody. It's a free challenge. We will read the winning lineup the following week on the show.
I'm already in the contest. I've already got my lineup set. I will probably tweak it here and there, but I wanted to make sure that if I was going to invest in any Chiefs or Lions, that I had to make that move now. And you know what, though? It's a good strategy to kind of pay attention to, because one of the things that we always talk about when we're playing DFS, especially if you're only playing that Sunday slate, you're only playing the main slate, you still want some shares of guys in that 4 o'clock window.
Yeah.
Right. Because we call it the late night hammer, and you do it in NBA all the time, right? You take some of those West Coast games, you're like, oh yeah, Lillard, I'm going to pop him in there. I got Steph Curry going late night. So now you like me throwing out some hoops names there that?
I'm so incredibly impressed. And you picked a dual threat there. Damian Lillard is also a rapper. I do listen to his music.
Does he? Is he a rapper? Is he
rap.
Please tell me that he's better than Le'Veon Bell.
Way better than Lev Bell. Although, shout out. I appreciate anyone trying to, work their craft. Way better than Lev Bell. Has beats and just pops. He's great. So we're gonna wrap these up now. Colts running back Zach Moss arm is practicing Wednesday. Okay, now you remember me saying earlier in the show, I did pick up Zach Moss, who I think would be getting all of the work. So I have another week 1 question. Am I comfortable starting Zach Moss this week, or does he sit on my bench?
He sits on your bench. I don't even know if he's going to be good to go this week. I don't know. Ooh, I'm on the clock with a slight dilemma here, Lisa.
Oh, dilemma it out. Let's
can you
go.
help me here? I need a tight end.
Can.
I need a tight end. I could.
Who are your options? What round is this? Tell me everything. 12 team or 14 team?
It's a 12-teamer. It's IDP also, so I could make a move and start grabbing some linebackers. But Tyler Higbee, Sam Laporta, they're both sitting out there. Do I Higbee it up with you?
You love Sam Laporta because I listen to you and all your Sam Laporta love. But yes, you are definitely going to Higbee it up with me, LA style. You're going to love every minute of it. Let's Higbee together. We're going to Higbee to a quick break. When we get back, we're going to answer some of these questions in the chat. We've got a couple people here, Howard, that have lost Kupp. Want to talk about it? Jeff wants to smash something on DK tonight. We're all about that. We'll support that. But we'll get to that. We're back. Got through these injuries. And we'll be catching up with our segments of under a higher lower. You can see all of those are already on my timeline and retweeted from everyone here at the network. We will be right back. Lisa Ann and Howard Bender right here. Lisa Ann Does Fantasy on Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm.
So let's get into some best ball philosophy here.
Yeah.
In your experience, going back many, many, many years, drafting in national tournaments, Bradley, have you historically been shying away from the running back position in favor of wide receivers? In favor of, if you're drafting in the FFPC tight end premium format, in favor of tight ends as well. Is that the smart play when you're drafting this early in the drafting season?
Yeah, so taking value is going to be huge, and looking at like running backs and wide receivers, like you want to take a look at how the structure is. So you mentioned earlier the FFPC has a couple different types, like they've got super flex and one quarterback. So that's going to change your strategy a little bit if you have only 2 wide receivers or if you're drafting 3 wide receivers. And of course, the PPR is a different aspect compared to other formats or other tournaments. And so keeping in mind the pass catching upside of some of the running backs may be more valuable in those formats. So the Austin Eckler's, the Christian McCaffrey's may be more value because they get more receptions, and so like I loved taking late shots a couple of years ago on like the JD McKissicks of the world who would get 50 receptions really cheaply. So that's something to consider. But when it comes to like overall value, like you're drafting, you're in the middle of a draft and you just noticed that, I don't know, maybe it's Chris Godwin has fallen 14 spots, but Chris Godwin was not in your plans to be drafting. Like maybe you don't have a strong player take on Chris Godwin, or my take is that I don't think the Bucs are going to be particularly good this year. But for him to be dropping, let's say 14 spots is more than a full round. And based on the data that we've seen, if you get to draft a player more than 12 spots ahead or behind ADP, so they drop 12 or more spots, you have an 84% edge over the rest of the tournament players who are drafting this player, because typically this player isn't going to drop. The average draft position is a really strong indicator of where a player is going to go. And I think that is also on the flip side. If you are reaching too much, you're giving up value in your drafts. And so when it comes to value-based drafting, you need to consider, just because this guy is in my plans or I don't have a strong player take on him, maybe that's your opportunity to sprinkle in some shares of this player at a good price.
Boy, we are grooving here. Right? Yeah, we're really grooving. The music is clear. Doesn't scratch my ears. It's not janky. We're just stepping things up here. Lisa Ann and Howard Bender right here with you. Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor at the Better Sports Network, as well as Fantasy Alarm. Howard Bender put out a DFS strategy article today. You want that membership. You want to go in there and do it. Go to fantasyalarm.com/draft. Okay, Howard? We've got graphics, we've got polls, we've got active people, but I think it's very important to handle our friend here. Mo Diesel. I lost Kupp, half PPR. Pick one wide receiver and one flex. KJ Osborne, Zay Jones, Boyd, Laporta, Campbell, or even Warren. I love how we went on a first and last name basis, and then we just, probably because of characters. I'm thinking of flexing Laporta. I have Andrews at tight end. Howard again. KJ Osborne, Zay Jones, Boyd, Laporta, Campbell, or Warren.
Man, it's a tough group. Definitely flex Laporta. I like that call there. When you're dealing with the fact that you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs are the two primary pass catchers, you're going to need to lean a little bit more on your tight end. That's just, you're going to need to see that. So I think that's a great flex play. To me, I think I would probably go with Tyler Boyd, only because, you've got Jamar Chase and you've got T. Higgins, but one thing that we've definitely seen with the Bengals is that they do like to keep Tyler Boyd fairly heavily involved in the passing attack, and maybe he's not going to see the most targets on his team, but he's going to see a significant number. He's going to see some workload there, and he's always on the field because they love their 3 receiver set. So I'd go there. I'd go with Boyd and Laporta there.
We're talking some Ohio on Ohio crime starting out the season with Cincy and Cleveland. I mean, that is going to be Ohio-esque.
Is it Ohio-esque?
I mean, the dog pound, you got to go in there. It's going to be nasty. Okay, so what was Jeff's? Should I smash this happy hour bet on DK? Chase and Jefferson, 50+ receiving yards each, and it's plus 100.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I think both of them will exceed 50 yards in receiving. It's even money. It's a solid bet. I think it's all right.
Next up, I've got third pick in the draft. I'm thinking of going Tyreek Hill if Chase and JJ are gone.
So that's a tough one for me because, how many teams did he say it was?
He didn't. How many teams? He didn't. We don't know if it's a keeper and Christian McCaffrey is being kept, but I still like Christian McCaffrey right there at 3. How about you?
Yeah, I like McCaffrey there at 3. I also, I always feel like if I'm not going to get Chase or Jefferson, as much as I love Tyreek Hill, you still have to wonder what's Tua's situation and is he going to stay healthy? And if that's the case, then does Mike White step in and at least be able to deliver in the same fashion? So I prefer to use like McCaffrey. I could also go Bijan Robinson at that point. I wouldn't even mind going Nick Chubb at that point. It's going to be very tough for you to get your running back on the way back for the second, third round.
Yep.
You're going to end up like, you're going to be like, okay, well, I'll settle on Najee Harris or
Joe Mixon.
I'll settle on, I don't even know. I would probably just, I would take the running back there first. That's the way I would lean.
Let's pull it up. We got some graphics for this underdog situation right here, which is very exciting. And Underdog has a special pick'em contest. Underdog is giving you an exclusive offer if you are a new customer. Claim your mystery pick'em special plus $100 deposit match. All you need to do is sign up at fantasyalarm.com/underdog with promo code ALARM. Make a deposit, then download the app and head to the lobby to find out which player special you got. So we've got these players here. I put some polls out. We'll go with the first one that I put out because we already have 235 votes. That is the one that is Lamar Jackson. Here we have at 56.5 rushing yards. And the question is higher or lower. And what I love about this poll that I put out on Twitter is, Howard, it is so close. There could be some election fraud after this poll. The higher total is 50.6 and the lower total is 49.4.
There are a lot of people. All right. So I'll just, I'll reveal my answer right now and say,
No.
I'll say, Lisa Ann, I think that number is going to be a little bit higher. We're
keeping it just gets me every time.
I love you, Brian Byrne.
I love it. So great.
I love it. You. Everybody sits there and they focus so heavily on the fact that it's it's an air raid offensive scheme, which goes very, very pass happy. Yes, 100%. But here's the thing. When defenses, are playing for the pass, Lamar Jackson's going to roll out, and then everything's all spread out on the field, and the running lanes are going to go wider. And while I, think Lamar definitely wants to, chuck the rock a little bit more, much like he did in his second season, I genuinely believe that Lamar is still going to take off running. And, in this matchup against Houston, which doesn't have fast linebackers and their safeties are going to be sitting there trying to, help cover the excessive receivers along with Mark Andrews. I think we're going to see Lamar Jackson do a little bit of extra running here. So higher than 56.5 rushing yards from my man Lamar.
And an observation that I've made in fantasy football seasons of the past, Howard Bender, you can tell me I'm wrong on this, but I always feel like the first 3-4 weeks, defenses can be a little bit sluggish, making their opportunity for the quarterback to get these extra rushing yards. And it just makes me a little bit more comfortable going for the higher for Lamar Jackson as well. We've got Mamba who says, let me know when I can get on a show at Better Sports Network. I've been dominating DFS for a while now. Huh? All right. Well, there you go.
Is Mamba in our contest?
Hey, Mamba, you in our contest on DraftKings. It's free. It's on my timeline at The Real Lisa Ann. Howard Bender at RotoBuzz Guy has retweeted it. Better Sports Network at Better Sports Network has retweeted. I'm sure at Fantasy Alarm. Here's what we'll do. If Mamba wins this challenge, then we consider Mamba stopping by and telling us what the DFS strategies utilized are.
I'm game for that.
Okay, we'll watch for Mamba. That's a great. I love it. Let's go to the next one. Another poll here. Let me tell you about the voters. I don't think there's as much of a conspiracy here. So we've got Zay Flowers, 35.5 receiving yards. Again, this is an Underdog Fantasy. I've got 311 votes. And we have higher at 71.1% and lower at 28.9%.
So one of the things that I also liked about the Ravens offseason was that Lamar had private workouts with Odell Beckham and Zay Flowers. Poor Rashad Bateman. He's like, yeah, you guys
aren't you guys friends with me? Yeah.
So I mean, 35.5 receiving yards, that could be one pass.
Yeah,
that could legit be one pass for Zay Flowers. So, I mean, look at that picture. Look at his arms. That's insane.
They are beautiful. They are absolutely beautiful.
My guns don't look like that. It looks like I got like a Saturday night special, and he's got like an AK-47 there for guns. It's crazy.
Howard, have your guns ever looked like that? I mean, I know they don't currently, but have they ever?
Yeah, back in the day, Lisa, and back in the day. Oh, boom.
Were you yoked? Were you like yoked? Neck, everything was yoked.
I wish you weren't a liar.
I'm not a liar.
Brian's on one tonight. Thank you, Brian. You're making this so great. All right, I'm with you there. Higher as well. Our next poll here, 234 votes. We've got Brian Robinson, 60.5 rushing yards. Again, this is at Underdog Fantasy. For our 234 voters, we've got 56.8% went with higher, 43.2% went lower. Where are you going, Howard Bender?
I'm gonna go higher here. See, I waited for my cue this time. Listen, Arizona's defense is atrocious, absolutely atrocious. I'm not gonna, run around and scream that the Commanders are the be all end all, but I think if they establish a lead and Arizona's just getting beaten up, then what are they going to do? They're going to run the football. Riverboat Ron is like that, and Bieniemy will just kind of follow suit and just say, you know what, let's take our win here in the first week of the season, and let's let Brian Robinson just kind of pound the rock and kill that clock out for the rest of the game. One of the things. I was covering the MLB All-Star fantasy football draft, And
was so great.
we were talking to Brad Lidge, who won the league, and he said Brian Robinson was like his guy who helped him win the league at the end of the season because he kept getting these 20 carry games, and they have all these crazy bonuses for 20 carries, 25 carries, something like that. So Brian Robinson's going to be the guy who's going to get, I think a majority of the work in that second half. And, I think it's just a great spot for him.
I like it. I'm with you on that one. And also we have to remember that Terry McLaurin has turf toe.
COVID toe.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
Oh, who is that voice? Why do I recognize that voice?
I can't. I mean, that commercial itself. I mean, how long is that commercial? Was that running? I'm not a doctor. It's from some sort of PSA. But
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. That's like our childhood right there. It's my childhood. Right? Your infant stages.
We're not that much. I was born in 1972.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well,
When were you born?
I was born in 70.
Okay, we're not that far off.
We're not that far off. So when we were growing up, that was like a constant PSA that we would always end up seeing
I'm
on
not
TV.
a doctor. I just play one on television. Well, yeah, that would be right. All right, we got another one here. We've got Derrick Henry, and I think, not a lot. I'm so surprised how far Derrick Henry falls in drafts. I haven't been fortunate enough to get enough shares, but why are we all forgetting about the magnificent that is Derrick Henry? For this first game on Underdog with the higher lower, it's 0.5 rushing TDs, so a half a TD. The 256 votes here on X, so X voters. 91.8% went with higher, 8.2% went with lower. What do you say, Howard Bender?
Derrick Henry to score a touchdown this week, I'll say higher.
And everyone else agrees with you on that one. And we had one more. Cole Kmet. This is a player. I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel. I have some shares, Howard, but I don't know how I feel. I'm a little lukewarm, but I don't want to miss the opportunity. You know that feeling? Cole Kmet, 25.5 receiving yards. Higher or lower?
So I'm actually going to go lower here. I think Cole Kmet, Justin Fields is they're trying to work Justin Fields to the point where he's focusing on DJ Moore downfield. He's focusing on, even Darnell Mooney. Cole Kmet he's a great red zone threat. And I think, he's one of those guys where, you'll see like 2 catches for 22 yards and a touchdown on most days. Very rarely you're going to get that much more from Kmet. So, I think that, the 25.5 is a good spot for him right now. And lower is the way I'm going. How about you?
I'm going to go lower because, again, I'm so lukewarm. I really want to see more of Justin Fields this season. I agree with you with the ball distribution there as well and where he's going to get it. It's kind of fluky, right? Yes, he will get you that touchdown, but you're not going to get a lot of other points there from Cole Kmet. And so I'm going lower as well. Can we touch base on your draft, Howard? What round are you guys in? How is it going? Ooh. And who did you get last? I mean, we are curious people here because we have a draft starting up in 12 minutes. I know Jeff is in the room. I know quite a few people are in the room that are in this draft. I hope everybody has checked their software so they're not going into auto draft, because if you were listening to Howard earlier, there was a conversation about that. We do not like people. We understand people are busy, but I almost think people are getting into leagues just because they want to be in the leagues. They're not really thinking about how important the draft is and to be present for the draft. And it's just, it takes a lot longer.
It definitely takes a lot longer. So right now I'm in round 14. Here's the interesting thing about this league. So it's a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a wide receiver running back flex, and a wide receiver tight end flex.
Okay.
And then a tight end, but then you've got 2 linebackers, 2 defensive linemen, 2 defensive backs, then just any defensive position. So it's like a defensive flex almost. Then you've got a team defense and a kicker. And we only have 3 bench spots in this league. So that's where it gets tough, because you could be sitting there and, you've got like decent guys sitting on your bench and all of a sudden the bye weeks happen. And so you have to make a decision. Am I going to drop this guy? And, there are people in this league, and I've even done it before as well, where you end up going, you'll go without like one of your defensive guys because you don't want to drop one of your offensive players. And, you need to replace somebody for a bye week. So, you drop like a defensive back and you pull somebody else in. So, I think it's a fantastic thing because what it does is it keeps the waiver wire active.
Fresh, of course. Yeah.
And it also it inspires a little bit more trading as well, which I definitely dig.
How many rounds will you draft in this league?
Total rounds will be 20.
So you're going to finish this league up, and then you have another draft at 8:30, and then you have another draft at 11 p.m. tonight.
We're psychopaths. We're total psychopaths here.
And what's funny is how many of your personal friends have reached out to you over the past 2 weeks? Because right before I logged in to get set up tonight, a friend of mine who won his league last year, and I definitely told him that I liked him more as a friend after that. He called for some advice on his keepers, and we were talking about. Yeah, I was like I've known him. Like he's a super cool cat, right? But like when he showed me he won, like showed me the phone. I was like, oh my gosh, like so much more respect for you. Like we're friends like forever now. Yeah,
I take it you're a virgin.
Yeah, I would take that, Ryan. Yeah, I would take that as well. Okay, so. And what's the league at 8:30? Is it a regular redraft league, super flex, anything complicated?
Just a regular redraft league where, again, and the other one is on Yahoo. So it's quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, a tight end, a kicker, and a D. So real simplistic on that one there, but the entrance fee is a little on the side. So, obviously, want to pay attention. It's a buddy of mine who, he and I were, we worked together in New York. We toured with Fish together, throughout the 90s. So, it's good dude, good bunch of guys apparently in this group. So, pretty happy to take all their money is really what it's going to come down to.
Do you miss being in the chat when you're actually doing a show during a draft? Like, are you a big chatter when you're doing a remote draft, Howard?
It depends on the league. It depends on who the people are, right? I'm not really, that big of, I'm not like, super chatty about it. Ooh, it's my pick. Where am I going to
Well, and what are your choices? What are your choices? Tell us. We need to know.
It's all
Oh, we've got an answer from Mamba. Mamba mentality right here. I'm jumping in that contest on your timeline. Getting ready to draft my big leagues now. I have 3 like Howard in a row up to 11:30 tonight.
Right? I mean, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, this is crunch time right now. Season starts tomorrow. You got to get all those drafts in. You know what I do not like, and I've seen so many people do it, and everybody's got, drafts on like Friday and Saturday. What I hate about doing drafts like that is that first game plays and suddenly, Khalif Raymond gets a 57-yard touchdown out of nowhere. And suddenly he goes from a guy who's not even remotely being drafted right now to suddenly, boom, now all of a sudden somebody picks him up because they want those stats. So I'm a big fan of just getting all the drafts done beforehand. So, and I got to tell you, I'm like wrapping this sucker up here. It's, this is all just now. Now it's like just grabbing defensive guys and trying to figure out where I want to go with some of these. I wish I had some exciting names for you, but I'll tell you what, I do have. I mean, here are my starters right now. So,
okay, give us your team. And
Trevor
by the way,
Lawrence.
Our friend Mamba said, good luck, Howard and Lisa, if you are drafting as well. We thank you. We've got a new watcher in here who's fantastic and active in the chat. Thank you so much. Give us your team.
All right. Trevor Lawrence is my QB.
With that great hair.
I want to brush his hair.
Yeah, I do too.
And like him, I want like him and Bosa.
Okay.
Right? And the two of them just brush their hair simultaneously.
Just brush their hair. Yeah, yeah.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
So Trevor Lawrence, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones.
Okay.
My running back wide receiver is Javonte Williams.
Okay.
Wide receivers are Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, and Christian Kirk.
Ooh.
Right? Tight ends.
That's sexy.
Tight end, I went Sam Laporta. You said Sam's name first, and I was like, oh, okay. Let me go Sam. And then you're like, but you should Higbee it up with me. And I was like, oh, I already made the pick.
I did not know that you already had the trigger finger and that you already did not Higbee it up with me, but that's okay. That's all right. You can Higbee it up with me in the DFS challenge that is out for all of you. It's going to be a weekly challenge. We'll run it every single week for Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor. We'll get all of you in this thing. They're fun, they're free, and it's a great way to look at matchups and really helps you set a better lineup in your season-long league. Okay, so Sam Laporta, who'd you draft after that?
Let's see. Linebackers are CJ Mosley from the Jets. Dre Greenlaw from San Francisco.
Okay.
I've got Antoine Winfield, the defensive back. I still need 2 defensive linemen, 1 defensive back, 1 just any defensive player, and I still need my kicker. I took my team defense a little earlier than usual in this draft. Why? Because I know that there are at least 3 other Jets fans in this draft. So I took the Jets D a little bit earlier than I should probably, but, it's not easy being green, Lisa Ann.
It's not easy being green. And if you are going to layer yourself in Jets memorabilia, okay, then stand up at the plate, say it with your chest, take that defense and get them early because you knew you were going to get ganked. And again, that is a lesson to the room. Know your league mates. I will tell you, I don't know if I got to recap with you. No, I didn't, because I did that draft right before I went to Vegas. Then when I came back from Vegas, you were gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're at the live, the Squad 18 draft, which they're going to call it. We're going to have them on.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
I was going to it Thursday night. And, you forget that not everybody's paying attention. That was the day Jerry Jeudy was carted off during practice. And of course, one of the league mates that I talk the most smack with goes up and types it in. I see him typing in Jerry, and my friend nudges me. He's like, should we tell him? I'm like, are you kidding me? First of all, I just gave you my buy-in money for this league. Why would we tell him? No. So he drafted him. And afterwards, I walked up with the article. He's like, oh, he'll be back. And I'm like, okay, well, good for you. You drafted him and he's injured. That's why you have to pay attention. And it's so easy to do that if you have a fantasy alarm. You can just touch base every day. Just go on to thefantasyalarm.com with your lovely membership and make sure you know what's going on, especially before you go in the draft room or set a lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I've gotten a lot of, like this year, even more than the last couple of years, been getting a lot of compliments on the cheat sheet and how everybody's been drafting with it. And that was, fantastic. If you guys still have drafts coming up right now, I mean, I made updates right up until I did it this morning in order to update it so that, it reflected all the Travis Kelce news. So if you've got a draft, tonight, tomorrow, if you're doing something this weekend, go over to fantasyalarm.com/cheat sheet. You just buy it on its own. And it's like the easiest thing to use for your draft. You could also go to fantasyalarm.com/win and get the all pro subscription. And that'll carry you through the entire season, and not just on draft day, but everything that we've got there, including the Fantasy Alarm Discord, which, you want to be a part of that Discord, because that really, I mean, it's full access to, like me and Andrew Cooper and Britt Flynn and, everybody on the team, and everybody's just really anxious to help you win a championship. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now.
Well, I am picking third. The draft clock is at 45 seconds before this thing starts. I have a lovely room that has all just greeted each other in the chat. That makes me happy. I like this because it's important to be nice for this event, because afterwards it's over. There's no need to say anything nice. I do believe that bullying amongst your league mates in fantasy football is acceptable.
Oh, I think bullying during a draft is even better. I was sitting there. I don't remember when it was, but it was, I mean, at least a month or so ago. So I'm doing this draft and I'm like watching these guys who are behind me. I think I was picking like 10th or 9th or 10th and in a 12 teamer. And the guys behind me, they kept taking wide receivers really early in the in the first. And so I went hero RB, and I just started. I took my 2 running backs nice and early. Then it came back around. I grabbed a wide receiver. They still took one of them took like a tight end. One of them took a quarterback. I was like, well, you guys are a bunch of morons, because then it went away, and I took another running back, and then coming back again to me right before them, I took a running back to bully these guys into drafting mediocre running backs way before they should have been taking these guys. And, listen, that's what you have to do when you're watching. It's why I love using websites that have a draft board that you can see, like, this.
I agree.
ESPN.
I agree with you. I do not like that. This draft that we're doing tonight is on Fantrax. There's a nice draft board there.
Yeah.
I would like to say Jeff's shout out was the number 1 pick. It looks like our number 2 person is not in the room yet. And of course, I can't be nagging people because I'm here working and I don't like waiting for you because I'm number 3. And so the longer you take, the longer I go. So first pick was done by our friend Scrimp Daddy in the room. Second pick went Justin Jefferson. I am on the clock at 3, which is the perfect time for us to go to a quick break. We will be right back. You're listening to Lisa Ann and Howard Bender right here on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor, Better Sports Network, as well as Fantasy Alarm.
Who are you going to take?
I feel like this is a quietly contentious point in Dynasty Fantasy Football, what it means to actually be rebuilding. Some people say you should never truly be rebuilding. How do you view the rebuilding versus competing dichotomy in Dynasty?
So I will be the first person to acknowledge that my preferred format of fantasy football is just redraft. The years that I have played Dynasty, it has been, I've drafted a win now team because I've seen people that have just gotten into the cycle of rebuilding and thus they just don't make any progress. So if you're rebuilding for the 5th year in a row, I just, I don't know exactly how you get out of it, but yeah, it's definitely something that can happen. And a lot of people, especially when we come out of the NFL draft, everyone's just instantly shipping off, draft picks and everything. So, I mean, it's definitely something that can happen.
Joey, do you feel similarly to it? Do you feel like you see people getting stuck in the rebuilding loop?
I mean, I would say people that try to rebuild in the beginning of seasons, of their fantasy seasons, I see them get stuck in that rut. I would really try to only ever rebuild if I knew I was going to miss the playoffs. Like, I'm always trying to play to win, even if it's maybe I don't know.
I think my big thing is the word rebuild is a much shorter time frame than I think most people say it should be. Like, they look at rebuild as like 3 years out competing. Rebuild, you're looking to compete next season. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing it now, you're looking to revamp, and maybe there's a 1 season where you ship it off, but that very next season you should be competing. If you're doing it like that, I'm cool with it, but you got to have a plan, not just keep getting the young players, keep getting the draft picks. Otherwise, you end up like Tim. Maybe not like Tim who gets a bye, but you make the playoffs, you're in that like 4 to 6 range every year, just hovering in the middle. Nothing ever gets better, nothing ever gets worse.
I think I play like you in Dynasty, Simon. I play in 3-year windows.
100%. That's my go-to. And with the rate at which Dynasty leagues turn over, you should really only ever play in a 3-year window.
Really feeling all this music tonight.
Right? It's just such a good vibe.
Ryan, man, you feeling it today? Like, Ryan, whoa, look at you go. Lisa Ann, Howard Bender right here with you. Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor on the Better Sports Network, as well as Fantasy Alarm. We are at Rachel just picked our friend Tootsie Pop, who I love. I've gotten to know so many great people in this space, but we have our first quarterback off the board. I was picked number 3. I went with Christian McCaffrey. After me, Patrick Mahomes, Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill, Bijan Robinson, Stephon Diggs, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, and last up is our friend Antoine, who is going to be joining us here in the chat as well. We're looping around to round 2. How you feeling there with your defensive players? And by the way, that little break talking about Dynasty. I am relationship phobic. So Dynasty is such a commitment to me. I cannot even stand slow drafts, and I feel like Dynasty resembles that. So I can't do Dynasty leagues. I'm sorry. I like to start over.
Yeah, you know what it is? I mean, I get the obsession with the Dynasty leagues. I do, I just think that, when you're dealing with players who have such a short shelf life, that I kind of want to, I mean, you got guys who, 3 to 5 years are really, where you get some players, unless you're talking about a QB. So no, I'm perfectly fine with just doing regular redraft leagues. I don't mind a keeper league, and if you're gonna hold a guy or two, but nothing crazy. Who did you take with the third pick?
I went with Christian McCaffrey, yes. And Jeff, I'm going to ask to lean on you because I've set up so many leagues, and I was just asked. And that's Scrimp Daddy in here. I was just asked if this is a super flex, and now I don't know, and I want to back out of this draft and check the scoring settings because I don't think it is. But now I'm wondering, is it because everybody's drafting quarterback? So I must go. Let me look, and Jeff could look for me and then get back to us. But this is moving. And this is one of the things that I wanted to put out there. Always read your scoring settings before you go into the draft room. The past 5 or 6 drafts, every draft I've been in, someone's in the chat asking what the scoring settings are. I'm like, what? Wait, it is.
Script Daddy says it is. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Well, now, okay. Thank you all. I'm sorry. Too many drafts. I am an idiot. And I'm putting that in the chat as well. Do not mind calling myself an idiot, but now I got to catch up. Now I understand we are. Patrick Mahomes is off the board. Jalen Hurts is off the board. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Travis Kelce slipped to the second round. My friend Dog Pound right here. 2 QB league. My bad. Everybody. Oh, thank you for sending the screenshot in there. Like everybody telling me this is amazing. This is real time, real mistakes. They do happen. But again, prepping for the show, I've had a ton of leagues. I thought this was okay.
I get it. So what's the QB situation? Let's
2 QB. It is a 2 QB.
No. I mean,
super flex.
Who's sitting on the board right now? And how many picks away are you?
I am 1 pick away, and the drafter before me, Diamond Mike, already took Patrick Mahomes, so I can be very happy and safe to think that he's not taking his second QB, but he could be. We don't know this yet. But Justin Fields is sitting there for me, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. There is still a good echelon. Dak Prescott, like I'm not hitting panic mode. Yeah, here we go. And this chat is live.
You're definitely I mean,
Diamond Mike, are you in this room? You are. You heard me, and you didn't think, and you did it. He took Joe Burrow.
Okay, so
I'm gonna be just like you, Howard, because you and I both. I went with Trevor Lawrence, so we could both make plans to brush his hair.
Could you imagine you and I show up in Jacksonville for a home game one day, right? We go say hi to our good friend Mike Dempsey. And then we turn to Trevor Lawrence. We're like, we just want to brush your hair for just 5 minutes. That's it. No interview, no nothing. Just sit here and let your hair get brushed.
Okay, so I am up again. And right before me went Derrick Henry, who was a thought to me. Najee Harris was the first pick in the 3rd round, followed by Derrick Henry. I am now looking at 1. Tony Pollard. Hello, my friend. Welcome. Meet your friends. You've got Christian McCaffrey in the running back room with you. And your quarterback has great hair. Trevor Lawrence. I hope you all get along well and give you a great season. Welcome to my team.
So McCaffrey, along with Trevor Lawrence and Tony Pollard, that's your start for a super flex.
Sir.
Rock solid.
It does look like I'm going with a no wide receiver strategy, but I'm not, everybody. I will play a bit of catch up. What does help in these super flex leagues is there's still a lot of players, positional players, tight end, running back, wide receiver left, because when you have 8 quarterbacks off the board already, then you know that you've got all of those spots. So we're still going to be able to make up some time as wide receivers.
No doubt. I gotta now that you're all set up there now, and you're working that. I just finished my draft, so now I've got to head over to the other draft room and see where I'm picking in that one and get ready for that. I mean, this is pretty damn funny. Oh, I've got the 4th pick in this one here, so that's a great question. If it goes Chase, let's say it goes Jefferson, Chase, McCaffrey for the top 3. I mean, that opens up so much for me right now. Do I do Nick Chubb or do I do Bijan Robinson? Because I think it pretty much comes down to one or the other. Do I go with that high, beautiful, tasty, yum, yum, yum rookie upside, or do I go with the guy who I know is the best running back in the NFL right now?
Who do you think you have more shares of already in redraft leagues?
I would actually say that it's probably dead even. I've been drafting. You know what it is? I've been drafting a lot from like the 8 to yes.
I just got a brand new one because I don't know if you know this, Howard, but Magic 8 balls go bad. Did you know this? Do you replace yours? They go bad every once in a while. Like every 5 or 10 years, the water gets weird and it doesn't give you great answers. So this is a fresh one for the fantasy season. I just broke it out of the box and I realized I shouldn't have done that on camera. So everybody knew this was fresh. The first question I'm going to ask it is for you. And should Howard take Nick Chubb or Bijan Robinson with his first pick in his millionth draft for tonight? Shake her up, shake her up. I'm a big believer. This thing spits facts. Mine says concentrate and ask again. Okay.
Mine says, as I see it, yes.
Howard, Nick Chubb. That's not a good answer. Nick Chubb or, well, okay, this is not going to give me the right answer. So should he take Nick Chubb? I'll ask it. You may rely on it. Now I'm going to ask, should Howard take Bijan Robinson? As I see it, yes. Okay, well, this wasn't a great kind of thing. You know what I mean? It didn't really work as well as I hoped. Okay, this is a really failed segment. We're wrapping around the fourth round, but I'm glad that you are a proud, you have a Magic 8 ball. I've always had them. And, when I had an agency, we would get into very stressful situations. I at one point brought one. There were 4 desks in my office. And everyone had one on their desk. So I would send out, remember Instant Messenger? That's how you talk through coworkers on AIM. And so we're on AIM and I would say, ask it a question, everybody flip it over and everybody give me your answer. And then we would like rally up like, okay, 3 said yes, 2 said no, 1 said no. And so the Magic 8 ball, and just listen, every once in a while, the boyfriend has to deal with the Magic 8 ball as well.
I'm gonna ask the Magic 8 ball here. Should I take Bijan Robinson over Nick Chubb?
That's a really good way to word the question. That was the proper way to acknowledge your Magic 8 ball.
All right. If that was the proper way, then mine keeps. I think I need to replace mine, like you said.
They get weird. See? Told you. They don't last forever, but they're not expensive. I ordered mine on Amazon because there's no more Spencer's. Remember those Spencer stores at the mall?
Gifts.
That's where you got your very first Magic 8 ball and your first Baywatch poster.
I got better not tell you now. What does that mean?
Okay,
what does that mean?
Obviously, your 8 ball knows that your draft doesn't start till 8:30. I am up and I am up
Are
in
you
one
going to take
pick.
your second QB?
I kind of feel like I'm being pressured into it. Quite a few of these teams. Here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. Can you please tell me something? Okay, got it. I'm gonna jet it all day long. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers. Made sure that with my 2 quarterbacks, they don't have the same bye week. Mm-hmm. So now we've got Trevor Lawrence by week 9. New York Jets by week 7, and I'll be wrapping around pretty quickly. Damian Pierce went right before me. I still do not. I'm entering the 5th round, and I now have 1 wide receiver.
I think you're all right. I mean, listen, do you start 2 or 3 wide receivers?
2.
Oh, see, then right off the bat there, I'm totally okay with taking
and a flex.
Like taking the running backs and taking the quarterbacks at that point. Just because, there's so much depth at the wide receiver position. I mean, like I'm all in. I'm all in on Courtland Sutton this year. I'm all in on him.
I know you are. And I'll tell you what, when my friend in our draft took Jerry Jeudy, later, I took Courtland Sutton and I walked up to him and I said, bro, I'll help you out if you want to make it a trade. I'd like 2 players for Courtland Sutton. Don't worry. He'll be worth it. Howard Bender says, though, you should be subscribed to the fantasyalarm.com. You should know how much love is out there for Cortland Sutton. Now, I am up. Amari Cooper was taken right before me. So I can't, everyone is in this live stream. Everyone in this draft is in here. So I can't openly talk anymore. These people are watching me. But I have DeAndre Hopkins or DJ Moore looking at me. Drake London. I think I'm going to go D-Hop because I don't have any shares in redraft. How do you feel about D-Hop?
I like D-Hop. I've got him in a couple of spots. I was taking him plenty early. Excuse me. Then Treylon Burks got hurt, and I sort of backed off a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, now he's going to see the double coverage for sure. But then Burks's injury wasn't so terrible that, that now he's obviously back on the field. So give me some D-Hop.
And Antoine is new here at Better Sports at Fantasy Alarm. So glad that you were able to come over, because what I did was I put in the chat where everybody could listen to this draft recap. And I hope that you are here with us every Wednesday night. We're live from 7 to 9. There's so many great shows on these networks. So I feel good. I've started out my draft: Christian McCaffrey, Trevor Lawrence, Tony Pollard, Aaron Rodgers, D-Hop, and let's rally. Feeling really good. The chat is still going on. I like, this is very cute. It's fun when you see people responding to getting ganked and the emotion that evokes.
Getting ganked. That should be my new team name for this league. Getting ganked. Because everybody sits there. Like, that's the one peril of like you're sitting here and you're live streaming this and you're talking about your strategy. You're talking about which players, you're thinking about, and they're all here listening. It's the same thing with me, like, I was in the Jam on Fantasy Football draft last night, and at least 4 or 5 of those guys had already printed out the cheat sheet, and they already knew which guys I was in on. And so I end up having to shift my entire strategy around and start taking guys who I never usually take because of that. And so, it's what you got to do.
Well, Wendy, I am so surprised. Wendy is in the chat, says, okay, I've not heard that word ever. So the origin of ganked in my life was over clothing when I was like a teenager, and we would you'd gank your brother's sweatshirt, and because you wanted his sweat. It was like you took it. So we were like, oh, I'm ganking that. Like, now kids will say cop. Yeah, I'm going to cop that, right? But ganked was our thing, and I think ganked really works well in fantasy. Some people say sniped. I get that. Ganked is just a little bit more fun.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the word. I think, it's so funny when you sit there and you try and figure out what everybody's trying to say, what everybody's saying right now. That's why I have Sham Blunt as my producer on Sirius XM, because she keeps me young and she helps me understand. I had an entire session on learning Gen Z lingo.
Okay, there's these 2 kids on TikTok that I'm addicted to, and they break down words, and one sits weirdly behind the other, and they're very expressionless, and they break down what things mean and how to use them, and it is hilarious. They shoot them all over New York City. They're always outside. It's this is, the one person will say, it'll say Gen Z terms, and then it'll say what our terms were. Which it's such a funny thing how much we used more words, longer words, full words, and how to use bet properly.
That's a big one there.
Bet is a big one. How to use bet properly, but those are all big ones. I am up again in 2 picks. Your draft is starting. Are you going back to the Magic 8 Ball to find out? Because remember, it did say you had to ask again later. While you're thinking about that, don't forget to go to Underdog. Go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Promo code ALARM gets you 100% deposit match for up to $100 for first-time depositors. Best Ball Mania 4 weekly winners. Pick'em contest, higher or lower. I am up in 1 pick. James Ruiz, who his team name is Ruiz Mode. We met over the summer when I was doing a bunch of best ball drafts in the chat. It's so great to see everybody that's in this draft right here with us in the chat. Very excited.
So it's kind of funny. We're sitting here, we're going through this. I wanted to just bring this up about Underdog also, because what they've got going on right now, is actually some really cool stuff, because there's an exclusive deal going on for people who use fantasyalarm.com/underdog. and you use the promo code ALARM, because not only are you going to get an instant match up to $100 for your first time deposit, but then what they're also doing is for their pick'em contest, where you go higher or lower on player stat lines, and they've got everybody's stat lines, projected stat lines sitting there on Underdog Fantasy right now. But for the pick'em contest, like the featured pick'em, special is Patrick Mahomes over half a total yard. Passing.
It's kind of a gimme. They're just giving it away.
Right. So that's the gimme. But if you're a first-time depositor and you get that match deposit, what they're also going to do is they're going to give you a mystery pick'em special play. So not only are you going to get that Pat Mahomes one, but then you're also going to get this special mystery pick'em play as well, which will probably be another kind of a gimme. And then take one of the ones that we just did. And all of a sudden, it's like you get 3 out of 3 and you're 6X in your money.
I love the fact that everyone knows that my sound is not on. So they're coming in the chat to tell me when I'm up. Okay. Like, Lisa, you're up. Okay. I'm like, I know, but I didn't want to have the sound come on. Ding, ding, ding. That's a great promotion. When you say mystery, though, for some reason, I think of like mystery meats and foods. You know how like you go to the cafeteria and you'd be like, that is a mystery meat. I don't know what that is or what it's mixed with, but I went with 2 more picks since we last spoke. Okay. So in the 5th round, you know that I picked up my first receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. In the 6th round, I circled back with my second receiver, and I get to, I like friendships. And I feel like this is my locker room. And Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence already know each other well. I'm sure they've gone to a sandwich shop or 2 together. I'm sure that they play video games. And so that's going to bring some good chemistry onto my team. And then I went with somebody who is sitting home for 3 weeks, but it doesn't bother me one darn bit. That is Alvin Kamara, who I think by week 3, you're going to have an injury to one of your running backs. I mean, I hope you don't, but you're gonna. Or you just hold on to him till bye weeks. But Kamara right there, I'm all in.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, first of all, yes, I'm with Antoine. Shout out for the sandwich shop, because who doesn't love going to the sandwich shop?
Who does those? And here we call them either bodegas. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get some of the best food in the most disgusting looking bodegas in New York City.
Oh, my corner bodega when I was living on I was at Amsterdam in 96th in Amsterdam.
I know that.
And there was a bodega there on the corner that did such. I mean, obviously, New York's got the bacon, egg, and cheese, sandwiches in the morning. Nobody out here in California has that flat top griddle, and nobody does those out here, which I don't really get. But my bodega on 96th in Amsterdam, they used to do, this amazing breakfast sandwiches. But then every sandwich that you would get, I would go there like every day and I would get a sandwich every single day.
I do think the sandwich life is more popular in the Northeast than anywhere else I've ever lived. California, it's more wraps.
Yeah,
it's not the
everything's
same.
A taco.
Everything's a wrap or a taco. It's not the same. I would like some really good bread. I would like it super buttery. I want you to flip it over on that griddle thing and give it to me. But here we are. We're giving it to all of you guys. We are in the 8th round. Jonathan Taylor just went. So Jonathan Taylor went with the 2nd pick in the 8th round in this draft. And Brian Robinson went immediately following. Shout out to my room here. Let's talk about Wendy. Let's talk about Rachel. Rachel's team right here started out with Nick Chubb, went with Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Dak Prescott, Tyler Lockett, Alexander Madison, David Montgomery, and Brandon Cooks.
She got some feisty running backs there. I love what she did with that team. That is just, and I also love, you got to love the Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews mini stack right there. That little pairing. I absolutely love that. To start off a draft with Nick Chubb and to put in a super flex and then to put together that kind of a team, Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott as your 2 QBs. Are you afraid of her team? Or you look like you look like you're afraid of her team a little bit.
I'm a little afraid of her team, and I'm also wondering why in round 8 a defense just went off the board, but it was the San Francisco 49ers. I do get it, but I'm also a little bit scared over the fact that quite a few of these teams already have 3 quarterbacks, Howard. 3.
Okay, I mean,
Not
you know,
two.
that's the rush that everybody goes on. But you know what? I mean, I'm sure if you're looking at the quarterbacks available, I'm sure you're looking at like Jordan Love, Jimmy G.
Jordan Love is here. Mac Jones is here. Tannehill is here. Stafford, Carr, Wilson, Geno Smith. There's still a
Oh
decent.
yeah, Wilson and Geno still. That's
I
your
know.
sight.
Okay, then I'm just going to do this and get it over with. I'm going to rip off the Band-Aid, but first I need to be mindful of bye weeks. All right, let's go. Gino, you revived your entire career. You were a Jet at a time where the Jets were just doing Jet things. You got smacked down over alone inside the locker room. That is not who you are anymore. And now you come onto my team. You're going to do great things. And I'm super excited to have you. Welcome to the squad, Geno Smith.
Welcome to the squad, Geno Smith. You want to talk about a punchable face? Apparently, Geno Smith's got a pretty punchable face, also, huh?
You had to go there. You just had to absolutely go there. Now we know we got some NFL action tomorrow night. We've got a game. Where will you be watching this game? Are you able to not be on air and just enjoy the game? Are you working during the game? What's your story, Morning Glory?
Well, it depends where, like, where's this game being shown? Is it the NFL Network? Do I have to get to the YouTube and subscribe to that already?
No, I think it's Thursday nights is Amazon Prime.
Oh, it's Amazon. Okay, so I will be on my couch at home. I was originally supposed to go to Vegas for the FFPC drafts, doing a broadcast over there. We were supposed to be a Friday night and a Friday and a Saturday broadcast. But it ended up just being a Saturday broadcast, which is great because now I can, instead of having to like hustle my ass to the airport after the show on Thursday and miss the game, now I can hustle my ass to the airport on Friday night.
Nice.
And so tomorrow night, yes, I'll be sitting on my wonderful couch, sitting next to my beautiful wife, eating hopefully a shit ton of food.
Yay! Deb's gonna set it all up for you guys. Yeah, it is an interesting thing. Like I have to fly out to Vegas Sunday night to do an event Monday and I'm flying right back, like just a turnaround trip.
Yeah.
And so as I'm planning my trip, right away, I'm like paranoid about missing. It's Cowboys Giants. Like I don't want to miss this game. So I intentionally booked JetBlue because I remember that DirecTV, JetBlue, and then it hits me like a pile of bricks that guess what? It's going to be YouTube TV. So I don't know if that's going to be on the monitor or if I'm going to have to be on the Wi-Fi with my iPad.
Oh, that's going to be a pain in the ass. That's going to be a pain in the ass. That's why I'm flying. So I'm flying to Vegas on Friday night. And then and on Friday night, then I'm going to Vegas so that I can sit in my hotel room and write the DFS playbook.
Smart.
So that everybody has that on Saturday morning, because then on Saturday morning, then I've got to do the broadcast over there for about 4 hours or 5 hours. And then I'm flying out later on the evening on Saturday night so that I'm home
for Sunday
night. And then I'm able to do everything on Sunday morning for week one. I mean, it's what we do, right? There's work to be done.
Listen, you've got 2 minutes till this draft starts for you, Howard Bender, your second draft out of 3 for the night, which means it is time for you to re-ask your Magic 8 Ball. But before you do, our friend Tootsie Pop would like to know what your favorite game snack is.
All right. So my favorite game snack is just a big ass plate of nachos.
Oh, really? And what do you like them loaded with?
Give me some beef, some black beans, a mess of cheese on it, throw some guacamole, throw some salsa on it. I mean, really, like to the point where like the chips at the bottom, like in the middle,
soggy.
are so soggy that I can like just scoop it with like a spoon and just like that.
All right. Well, Room, we need you to add to that. So everybody in the chat, while we're at a quick break, we want to know, Howard and I want to know from you, what your favorite game snack is. I will share mine, and I promise you it is not going to be exciting. So with that said, Lisa Ann, Howard Bender right here on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor on the Bettor Sports Network, as well as Fantasy Alarm.
Bettor Sports Network. Collectible moments.
Everybody up here at U.S. Cellular. Sox 5 runs, 6 hits. The 2-1 to Bartlett.
Swing shot to short. Ramirez has it, throws. Burley picks the perfect game. His second no-hitter. People going crazy here at US Cellular. He's mobbed by his teammates. A perfecto.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right up, 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the inbounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up and in. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left.
Out of the I formation on first down. Peterson to carry, looking for running room on the right side, has it to the 25, across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Adrian Peterson has just gone over 2,000 yards for the season, the 7th man in NFL history to cross the 2,000-yard mark.
Well, a thundering ovation for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Just the emotion I'm sure Mario is feeling in this place. You don't appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so great to have Mario back.
Yager turns around. Over to Lemieux. Mario Lemieux, his first goal in his comeback here tonight at the Mellon Arena. And the Penguins lead 3-0, and he is smiling like a butcher's dog. Mario Lemieux.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. The Bears have scored, but the Bands are out on the field.
Pearson moves in front of the STP Dodge. Petty comes back to the inside. They almost touch as they move down low in the bank, and you're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? Pearson is still running. The winner is car number 21. An amazing finish. Richard Petty's car demolished in the front end, as well as car number 21. An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. David Pearson has won the Daytona 500. Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Leitner has hit the bucket at the buzzer! Pitched by Downing, swinging, there's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm looking at the chat right now, Lisa Ann, and I am starving right now.
Okay, first and foremost, somehow this switched me to it's drafting for me, and even though I had players in my queue, it's not drafting them. So I do not know what is happening, and I'm making sure that I'm turning off auto draft. No, it says never. I never auto draft from queue only. What are you doing? Okay, let's see if I can work this out. But it gave me Dalton Schultz and it gave me Philadelphia's defense in the 11th round. I would have never made that move. I'm so angry right now.
Yeah, but the Dalton Schultz in the 10th round is a great pick.
I don't hate it, but I was and now my Higbee is gone. James, I know I wanted Higbee. I know you're listening. Everyone out there, Lisa and Howard Bender right here. We are calm, rational people in the middle of drafts. It is turning to chaos. We were at that point of the exercise the eve before the season starts at Lisa Ann Does Fantasy. And I would remind you all that you should start your 7-day free trial of Fantasy Alarm, all pro subscription, and get the free and the fantasy football draft guide and cheat sheet for free. Go to fantasyalarm.com/draft. And now let's talk about all this food.
Let's talk about all this food. So here we go. So Matt Deutsch kicked it off with wings. Then Tootsie Pop went pizza and wings. Antoine had pizza and wings, and he's doing it with emojis as well.
Well done. Well done.
Then I love Mr. Scampers throwing down the flautas with the spicy guacamole.
Okay.
I dig on that. Lori Nickelbane says Cracker Jacks because she gets a prize.
True that.
Where else do we get? And then, here we go. Kevin Pasco says Cajun chicken pasta at a local establishment. They got 2 TVs, one for the Browns and one for the Steelers.
I love that.
So you're either eating in Eastern Ohio or Western Pennsylvania.
Amazing. I will tell you, I do make a real breakfast during the football season. It's the one time of the year that I allow myself to have a little bread. And what I do is I make myself some super fun picture window eggs. Do you know what they are, Howard?
Picture window eggs? Are you talking like egg in a like chicken in a basket where you've got like the bread?
You take the bread and you take the whole of the bread out of the center and then you crack your egg right in there. And today I saw it on Instagram where this woman does it where she puts cherry tomatoes around it and then uses some parsley twigs so it looks like a flower. It was so cute. I'm doing that for myself. So I do a nice breakfast and then the rest of the day is really just snacking on vegetables. Maybe I'll have some hummus. I usually do a big bowl of fruit halfway through the day. I'll peel a bunch of oranges, those little cuties. I like some grapes. It's not really that exciting. I eat super healthy. So hummus is the dip of choice.
Yeah. So I told you this when we were at the expo together. I have done nothing but eat like plain grilled chicken and vegetables for like the last like almost 2 months now. Some slight cheat moments when I was away, this past weekend. Nothing like overblown or crazy. Like I wasn't like, feasting on all sorts of, like junk food or stuff like that. I wasn't like gorging myself, but so I stayed, kind of good about it. But well, I'll tell you something. It's I could go for some of this pizza and nachos and all sorts of stuff like that. I'm actually now I'm like my stomach's growling. I'm ready for some grub.
I love this very much. I also love Jamie who says, enjoying the show. It's informative, entertaining, and at the same time. Great duo here. Sadly, I'm technically challenged, so I didn't realize I needed the app in order to message. I finally figured it out. Well, you go with your bad self. Look at you learning new things today. I am waiting for my pick to see if I can make it myself or if I'm surrendering to this league. And by the way, I haven't eaten a chicken wing since the 90s.
You haven't eaten a chicken wing since the 90s? Well, what fun is that?
No, I have not. No, I have not. I had to give up 5 foods for the rest of my life. Chicken wings was one of them, and mozzarella sticks was another.
I haven't had mozzarella sticks in a long, long time.
Okay, I am one pick from being up, so let's see if I'm able to do this. I know you are shocked, but there's just not enough nutritional value to a chicken wing. The amount of fat that it just doesn't work. It's not good. So come on, Diamond Mike, make your pick so I get to see if I'm allowed to make my pick right here. Now, Howard, your draft has started. You were pick 4. You were asking your Magic 8 Ball whether you were going to go with Nick Chubb or one rookie, Bijan Robinson. What did you decide to do? Tell the room.
I went Nick Chubb. That's what the Magic 8 Ball told me to do. And then all of a sudden it came back around to me. And lo and behold, A.J. Brown said, oh, you made your pick?
I was able to make my own pick. I took Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't feel that great about it, but I just feel great about being able to make my own picks again. I felt like all my rights were being stripped of me, okay? No freedom here. Oh, my God, I was losing it. I couldn't take it. I logged out, logged back in. I did it all. I was jogging around. Oh, okay, I'm calm now.
Are you okay?
Right. Let me recap my team for everybody. I've got Christian McCaffrey, Trevor Lawrence, Tony Pollard, Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Alvin Kamara, Geno Smith is my third QB. Did I miss one? No, I did not. Dalvin Cook. I went with Dalvin Cook in the 9th round. Dalton Schultz, the auto pick of Philly's defense. And now it is my turn again. Do not pick for me. That is not. And you know what? I kind of feel like I got to do it, but do I do the homer pick and go with Zeke because I miss him? Or do I go Adam Thielen still sitting here? Or what about that backup tight end? You know what? This is going to be the moment I do it. Cole Kmet, welcome to the squad. I don't know how I feel about you. Please prove me wrong. I'm looking at you right now, Cole Kmet. You're on my team, and I want you to play lights out. Prove me wrong. There we go.
All right.
You feel calm about that. So Britt learned this last week because I was also at a draft. And yes, it's just something I do. I like to shout out loud even when I'm home alone doing a draft. I like to verbally welcome my players to my team. That's what they do in the draft. They bring them up. They give them a hat.
Give them a little hat.
They give him a hat. I love when they're at home doing the draft and they have the box of all the hats. Like, just in case you need all the hats of all the teams, then your friends can just rummage through this box and take all their favorite team hats. Okay, so you're drafting right now.
So you ready for this? So Nick Chubb.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
And then, came back to me in the second round. I realized this is only a 10-team league too. So
that's so difficult. Too many good players on your team. It's
right.
So hard
So
to
Nick Chubb, AJ Brown fell to me in the second round. And then Jalen Waddle in the third. So,
and is it because you just want to do the Waddle dance, Howard?
I do. Do you like the little penguin thing that he does? Absolutely. Absolutely. When I got Jim Bowden to do that on camera, that was actually the best moment there. Like Jim Bowden doing the waddle.
It is great. Now, are we going to do any pie bets this season? Because if those of you who don't know, Howard, the Fantasy Alarm, pie bets are a thing. It's super fun to pie people and to get pied. It's lovely when Jim Bowden has to be pied. I don't mind the pieing. So do you want to pie or not to pie this season?
I'd totally be down for doing that. I really would. Jim was the one who didn't want to. The year that we did the fantasy football pie bet, Jim probably took the most shots. And which was super funny because his wife Joy was beside herself. She thought it was the greatest thing because she got to pie him like 5 or 6 times. Right?
Yeah, Jim's too bougie for that. He doesn't want to be pied. He's bougie.
He took it like a champ. I was very proud of him. But then all of a sudden, like the following season, when everybody wanted us to bring it back, he was like, no, I don't want to do this again. So can we please not do it? I was like, I don't know, Jim. I kind of feel like we should do it again.
We are here. Let's talk about Antoine, who's in the room. And I'm so happy that all of my drafters are in here with us. It's so cool because now you are expected to be here every single Wednesday night with Howard and I. If we have to be here, so do you. And if you miss it live, don't worry about it. You can go to Fantasy Alarm's YouTube channel or Better Sports Network. Now you have to go into the live category, the live playlist. You'll see all our previous lives. So important. But Antoine, so glad that I was able to pull you into this league. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert. Every time someone makes a pick, it refreshes. So Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, Drake London, Darren Waller, Jared Goff, James Cook, Jameson Williams, Raheem Mostert, Marvin Mims, Devin Achane, Rashad Bateman, and Deion Jackson. So 14th round is where we're at right now. I like your team, James. I'm so happy that we met playing in best ball. I met so many great people setting up a month of best ball drafts this summer, and I'm going to do that again next year. It was just fun. It was a great, it's before the season. It's super early, but we want to get into it. We want to mock draft. Best ball is great for that.
Can I tell you, I absolutely love this. That was Antoine's team that you just mentioned?
Yes.
Can I tell you what's going to be the most underrated pick or set of picks in that one there? The Raheem Mostert. Mostert, and then he cuffs him to Devin Achane. That listen, as soon as Dalvin Cook signed with the Jets, okay, you knew that Mike McDaniel was just going to go with his guys, and that was it. And I was just super, super pumped, to see those guys go. I was like, that was, did I just lose Lamar? Oh, I just lost Lamar Jackson.
Do you need somebody to help you find him? Is he on someone else's team?
Yeah, somebody just took him. I took Mark Andrews first because he was higher up in the queue and was going to take him, and I wanted to pair him up with Lamar Jackson, but some dude just snaked him from me. He just took him from me, Lisa.
It can be really painful. This can be an emotional roller coaster, and I like that cuff baby right there with all the emojis. I appreciate all this emoji love in here. You're all getting super clever. Jameson Williams is sitting here. I am one pick before I'm up. Elijah Mitchell, Zay Jones.
Antoine, he was like, you got ganked. I did.
Yes. I love when my terms, we are breaking ground. It is going to take off. It is not going to be like fetch. It is real. People say ganked. All my friend group, we still say ganked. And I am about ready to gank a player. Where do I go? Where do I go? It's such a homer emotional thing, but I feel really bad for some players that sit for a long time. I don't really truly trust MVS, but I think if by chance Travis Kelce is out, we could see a couple big weeks for MVS, and then you just throw him back out there like fishing, like when you go fishing and you throw the fish back out, just throw him back out there. So that's where I went MVS. I want some shares in Kansas City, and I haven't gotten any yet.
I mean, somebody's got to catch the football on that team, and whether it's Kelce or not Kelce. You still have to take a look at it. Kadarius Toney apparently is off the injury report.
Yep.
Sky Moore is going to be on the field, but Sky Moore is he's a slot guy. So Toney will be on the outside on one side, MVS will be on the other. Brett Veach, the GM for the Chiefs, has already said that they have that their package receivers, who they just have specific packages for, are going to be Justin Ross and Rashee Rice. They're going to ease those guys into it a little bit more and use them in much more specific situations. So that puts MVS right there as the team's Z receiver. He's going to be the guy who stretches the field. So listen, I don't hate that pick, Lisa Ann. I don't hate that pick.
Okay, Zay Jones, I am so glad I threw you off for a loop and brought him up, because that's not who I really wanted. I want to be a homer, and I want to take Michael Gallup. I know he's not going to exceed my expectations, but I'm just being a friend. And in the fact that it was either going to be Gallup or Zeke, who is now with a new team and no longer a Cowboy, I decided to go with Michael Gallup, someone I don't have the highest expectations for. He has a lot of butterfingers, but I do think opening up the offense could really help now that we've got some other pieces there. But the fact that Brandon Cooks is going 5 rounds before Michael Gallup. If I was Michael Gallup and I was peering in on this draft room, I'd be wondering about my value.
I love Cooks. I think, Cooks is, to me, he's a highly underrated guy. Works much better as the secondary receiver on a team. And he's got somebody who's, throwing, being, occupying everything. When he was back with New Orleans, it was like Marquez Colston and I think Michael Thomas for another year where, but 1,000 yards, 5-6 touchdowns every single year. That was what Brandon Cooks was doing over and over again. It didn't work well in New England for him, and it was meant for him with the Rams. But now that CeeDee Lamb is there, I think that Brandon Cooks is going to go back to his 1,000 yards, 5 or 6 touchdowns, and where you're getting him right now is, I'm not going to say it's criminal, but it's pretty tasty.
And he's a player that plays every game as well, right? He's just and I think him being in that locker room with CeeDee Lamb is young. I interviewed Dr. Jesse on my podcast. It was interesting what he mentioned about meeting CeeDee Lamb at 22 years old, that CB was already very well aware of specific needs for his body, how he opens up. He says with his hip, he doesn't open up as well on one side, how he recovers, how he eats. And I was like, that's my Dallas Cowboy wide receiver, to know that he's already that advanced. How many times we hear 24 and 25-year-old players saying, "Oh, I just decided to give up fast food." Like, what? What? Your whole income is your body and you're eating fast food? What are you doing? And so it's nice to know that CD is that way, but I still think he can learn a lot from having Brandon Cooks in the locker room. I don't think he's learning too much from Michael Gallup.
No, I definitely don't think he's learning anything from Michael Gallup. I'm sorry. I know Michael Gallup's mom watches this show, and I don't mean to besmirch the name of your son, but we are rounding into round 16. This is moving at a good pace. We draft 20 rounds. We already know that I have a mystery defense out of nowhere, so I don't have to worry about that with my last pick. But other than when you reach for your New York Jets, or let's say the top 3, what is the earliest you normally take a defense in a regular
one quarterback redraft league, Howard Bender. This is important information for listeners because I've seen defenses going way too early.
I see defenses go way too early also. And it's so unpredictable. You can't do it. I mean, how many times have we seen somebody take a defense in the 10th round and then all of a sudden by like week 5 or 6, the defense is not what you thought it was going to be. They're giving up yards. They're giving up touchdowns. And so all of a sudden you want to switch out that defense and use somebody else. So why invest that high of a pick into it if you're just going to, kind of flip that? So, for me, what I like is, if it's a 16-round draft, maybe I'll look for a defense in round 13 or 14, depending on which defenses are there. And by that, for me this year, it's really coming down to, somebody just took Trevor Lawrence from me.
You got ganked?
I got ganked again.
Who are your other options? You're not going to get to brush this player's hair, but who are your other, unless you got Justin Herbert, because he's got great hair too.
No, he just went also. So, I think I'm just going to bypass the, I'm going to bypass I'm going to bypass the QB now. I'm just going to take Javonte Williams there. And, because this is only the 6th round. That was my 6th round pick. So no reason to push for the QBs. If everybody else is, got theirs. I mean, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Deshaun Watson, Tua, these guys are all still on the board. So,
okay, you're fine. You're not worried about that. I just made another pick. So I've gone 3 wide receivers back-to-back rounds, 14, 15, and 16. 14, I went with MVS. 15, I went with Michael Gallup. And 16, I went with Curtis Samuel.
Oh, okay. I like the Samuel pick. Ron Rivera likes Curtis Samuel a lot. And I think that what we're going to see also is that Eric Bieniemy is going to get Curtis Samuel, more involved in some of those, those little gimmicky, gadgety plays that Andy Reid always used to like to, to run in Kansas City. So I think that's actually a pretty good spot there. Oh, you know what I'm going to do in this draft right now?
Tell us what you are going to do in this draft right now. Better Boss says Curtis Samuel was a wide receiver 3 last year. It's very sneaky. And yes, he was. And he also wasn't dealing with Terry McLaurin's COVID toe. So with that said, he could be getting more action. And I do keep bringing this up. If those of you don't know what I'm talking about, when we first talked about Aaron Rodgers and me begging my co-host right here, Howard Bender, to start watching Hard Knocks, we talked about how the fact that turf toe was only called COVID toe because of Aaron Rodgers. And so I still think it's a funny thing.
I like it. COVID toe works for me. I think I'm going to go with Tua with my next pick because I've got Jalen Waddle. So why not pair those guys up? I mean, this, I don't think I need to take Tua at this point. I think I can take some more wide receivers and running backs. But again, it's a 10-team league. And I mean, listen to this right now. I mean, running backs are Nick Chubb, Miles Sanders, and Javonte Williams. Wide receivers are A.J. Brown and Jalen Waddle. I got Mark Andrews as my tight end.
You're feeling pretty good about this.
I feel really good about this.
Really good. And I find, a 12-team league to me is a bit easier to manage because in a 10-team league, you do have a lot of studs on your team and you don't have that definite I want this person on my bench. Do you find it's a little bit harder to manage a 10-team versus a 12 or a 14-team league?
I definitely do because of that fact that, you've got, it's like an all-star team, and like all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm only starting 2 wide receivers. I've got A.J. Brown and Jalen Waddle. Do I bench one of them because I think that, Mike Williams or DeAndre Hopkins is going to, suddenly ball out for the week? So I do find that your start sits in a more shallow league become a little bit more difficult. And in this league in particular, I mean, I've got 6 bench spots too. So it's like short starting roster and a huge bench. So, I mean, it is definitely going to cause some sort of issues throughout.
And it takes longer because I find that you start getting more into the intricacies of matchups. Because you're like, okay, I want to play all 5 of these players, but I can only play 3. Now I'm going to break down each game individually. And when you're managing as many leagues as you are, Howard, that little bit of extra time can really throw things off.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I have not seen any updated Travis Kelce news. We know that's going to be coming in hot tomorrow. We do have the Chiefs playing tomorrow night. So I know a lot of fantasy team managers are concerned. When is the time frame that everybody should be by their phone, computer, however they set the lineup so that they can make the best decision?
Oh, I think you need to be checking throughout the entire day. I don't think there's a specific time. He's been officially listed on the injury report as questionable. But I mean, I think the issue here is, Lisa, is, what do you do with Travis Kelce? Let's say Kelce suits up, right? Is he going to be more of a decoy, or is he going to be somebody that, is actually going to play? So, I think that for me, obviously, if Travis Kelce is suiting up, I'm just going to use him because chances are is I've drafted Kelce and then, waited until I probably didn't even have a backup tight end. I probably had to pick somebody up off the waiver wire just out of fear. And so the question is Travis Kelce potentially as a decoy more valuable than, say, a Dalton Kincaid or a Sam Laporta at that point? So, but if he's playing, I'm not benching him. And that's just the way it goes for me.
Well, I just reposted a little story that just landed on, and you know what? Okay, I have two choices right here. One is very bad and one is very good. The one choice that's very bad would be just for fun for my friend Scrimp Daddy in the room because we both drafted him so much in best ball. Do I go between the very bad, which is Cordarrelle Patterson, or Jalen Hyatt?
Oh, you got to go Jalen Hyatt. I mean, at least there's upside for the potential of becoming the top wide receiver target on that offense because there's no competition. Isaiah Hodgins, Paris Campbell, Wan'Dale Robinson is still trying to work his way back from the ACL injury. Jalen Hyatt, at least there's a path to targets if he plays well and he gels nicely with that. Cordarrelle Patterson, no. I mean, they listed him on their depth chart as in the Joker role.
Yeah.
They just don't know what they're going to do with him.
So this Chris Jones article, Chiefs Chris Jones hopes for a new deal, says he could play in the opener. How crazy this is. Chris Jones, this is on ESPN. I just retweeted it. Chris Jones says he still hopes to sign a long-term deal with the Chiefs and indicated he could be ready to play in the reigning Super Bowl champion Stephen opener Thursday. And he wanted a raise. Well, I mean, I'm up again. So I'm still not going to do Cordarrelle. I'm going to take a kicker. Let's see. I'm so stuck on Greg the Leg, so I'm going for it because he is with your New York Jets. And he has the name New York Greg the Leg. I remember, how you have something that happened in a previous fantasy season and it never leaves you? There was a game that Greg the Leg put up like 40 points, if you recall, like maybe 2-3 years ago. And he's been embedded. Jeff just said, leave my 20th round pick alone, which means he does want Cordarrelle Patterson. We've got 1 minute left. How did this fly by? It's like hanging out with a friend, and everybody in the chat was so great to have so many people engaging with us tonight.
Yeah, great bunch of people here. Scrimp Daddy, Antoine. I mean, I'm meeting all these people here for the first time on this show. Yeah, I love
Byron,
it.
who's been here a bunch. Wendy, Mr. Skim. I appreciate all of you. We appreciate all of you. And hopefully we see Howard, have a great rest of your draft. Great rest of your draft night. Everyone enjoy the game tomorrow night. You're listening to Lisa Ann and Howard Bender right here on Lisa Ann Does Fantasy Bettor on the Better Sports Network, as well as Fantasy Alarm. Thank you, Brian Burns. You absolutely rock. And to all of you in the chat, you're amazing. Do not forget my word, ganked.
Gang.